Yay, I think I'm on. So I'm going to tell you a quick story that totally fits my whole diner's day. Reason I'm doing this, because I have a friend in town, and the adventure we had last night with another friend is exactly the reason I'm doing this. But real quick, they like to make fun of me, because if you ever want to see what having an ego looks like, it's not only having yourself tattooed on yourself several times, it's also having stuff printed out with yourself on you. But screw you guys, I want to have fun. Fuckers. So our story revolves around Wendy's and the loss of keys. So I have a buddy in town. We're going to call him Stan, and we'll call my other buddy Iggy to protect the innocent. Sure. So last night, our buddy Stan comes into town, and we're all hanging out, and he's gonna go grab a bite with Iggy before I get off work. So they go run and they get their food, and I come meet up with them after 11. And Iggy has managed to lock himself out of his own house. He's got his hitter on him. He's got his knife on him. He's got his two hitters on him. He's got his knife, his pocket knife on him, and he's got his wallet. But he doesn't have his phone or his fucking keys. His window is open, but we have to figure out how we're going to get to the window. Don't worry, we have a good answer to this. So he's knocking on the door, to hopefully wake someone up and get them in the house. And this is just totally failing and knocking on the door. So he's like, my sister lives close by. I'll go to her house and knock on her door and get us in. Back into my house. So we drive 10 minutes over there. And we see this weird random guy just like standing there looking out for like, oh, whatever. So we pull up on her driveway. He goes and knocks on the door. She's not answering. And why we didn't think to call the people he lives with right away, I don't know, but we didn't do that because he couldn't remember numbers allegedly. So we're at his sister's house. We call her, doesn't answer, then we proceed to text her. So we finally figured out how to use a phone to do that. Because these were all the good thoughts we had. Not the good ideas, just the good thoughts of trying to figure out. And he says, go park in the middle, because she lives in a cul-de-sac. And I'm like, I'll go park on the island. I go and pull out of the driveway, I go to park. I'm like, there's nothing there. It's just a fucking... He's like, oh no, people park there all the time. I'm like, no, it's 12 o'clock at night. I'm not going to put my fucking car in the middle there and have someone fucking call the cops on us or some stupid shit. So we pull around the side, and as we're waiting, we got the car, we're chilling. And they decide that this whole thing is now starting to a horror movie. And that we're all playing out different characters in our make-believe horror movie that I got roped into for this. And we decide that our buddy who's coming into town, he's going to be the protagonist because that just makes sense. He's the one who's coming to see his buddies and have a great time after not seeing them for a while. You know, Iggy's going to die because he's got the weed on him, so there's a drug. And I'm just going to die because, well, I'm me, and that's what happens to me in the movie. I'm the guy who's the driver, and the killer comes and hits my car, and that knocks me out, and I get impaled by the fucking windshield, and Stan gets thrown out of the car and runs and tries to find help and survive. And so we start heading back to his house. And we sit there for a minute, and we try knocking on the goddamn door again, and whatnot, and that's not working. So Stan has to go take a shit. So we drive back to the hotel he's staying at so he can go do that. And we're there, and we're like, we need a ladder. We finally got back to using a ladder to get to the second story window, which in itself was an interesting situation. So it's a hotel I work at. I can say this and hope my boss protects the innocent if she ever sees this and understands that it was a situation and everything was okay. Maybe that's giving out too much information. But we're going to move along with the story. So he does his things. We're talking in the room. We're talking about how they know more about Judaism than I do, and which is sad because I'm the Jew, so I should know more. And we're talking about the holidays, and then we got into some reason about the Romans attacking and how Jesus was a Jew and a carpenter and how he beat the shit out of Gandhi. With Iggy constantly saying, I'm high! I don't have my keys. I have my wallet. I have this stuff. We can go buy a ladder. And he's like, yeah, we'll go to the 24-hour grocery store. They'll have a ladder. And me and Stan are looking at each other like, dude, I work here. We probably have a ladder. We can figure this out. It'll be okay. So we go downstairs. We do have the extension ladder. We get it. And we're off and we're like, oh, we'll fit in into, we try and fit into my Jeep. And we look at the ladder and we look at my Jeep and we're like, that's not going to work. So we had to procure a van. And keep in mind, while we're doing this, the story of how this is a horror movie now and based off Idle Hands, how Iggy, he doesn't know where his parents are and he can't find any of his friends and trying to go through everything. So we get the ladder, we borrow the van. We didn't steal it. We procured it and then we brought it back. Thankfully, nothing happened. And we're driving back to his house to get him into the house. And on his main road, there's a bunch of construction traffic that's causing to push the narrative of, right, this is a horror movie. And we have to backtrack to become full circle that the guy we had originally seen was then staring off into nothing back by his sister's house. And it was really awkward and weird. And we're like, that guy's the killer. That's the guy that's going to come find us and Michael Myers us. And it's going to be sad. And we all died. But Stan survives. Me and Iggy are fucked. Because that's what happens in life. But anyways. So we get in. He's continually telling us how he's high. Now he can't remember fucking anything. And I forgot my keys. All to get a burger. Because he was hungry. They had to go, go get a burger. Forgot his keys in the fucking house. But it's okay. Because we're on this adventure and we're all together and life's wonderful. So he gets up the ladder, climbs up, gets into his room, finds out he left his whole vlogging thing left open, and sees himself in his camera, being like, oh, this is kind of weird. Get through the house, we get the ladder back down, we put it back in the van, we drive back. Continuing now how this story is just progressing about how this adventure is and how we're missing a hot chick. We only have, the stoner guy, and we have the protagonist, and then we have me. I'm just a guy. It happens. And they keep going on like how this journey is hitting on all these different tropes of horror movies. So we get the van back and the ladder back and everything. We're driving back. And now they're talking about like, okay, so what is this? Is this like a Freddy movie where he was a pedophile and he was burned and who would survive in this one? And is Jason Voorhees a supernatural or what's going on? And how his mother went ahead and was the original villain and she's the one who kills all the kids who were having sex and didn't pay attention to and who are mentally handicapped son and everything that's going on there. And we're driving back on this road and who's going to survive? So at the end of the day, everything was okay. And it all worked out. And he remembered his keys and got his keys. And it was just special. And it reminded me of these are the kind of things that used to happen to us and camaraderie and how we were able to forget everything else around us that's fucked up and whatnot. But it was all over a burger for fucking Wendy's. And this is the life I still live to this day. And that's okay because it's good and it's fun. And it was a story. And hopefully I told it well. It kind of got a weak ending. But hey, everyone won and no one's dead, so I guess it has a happy ending. Till next time.